Hello again, my name is Zane Safrit, and I'm very happy today to be speaking with Erica Powless Voreis to talk about all the good things happening with the little free food pantries here in Fairfield, Iowa. 12 in number now, and I understand there's a few more in the works.
I think so, yeah.
Erica, thanks for taking time out. I know you got a super busy schedule.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the little free food pantries here in Fairfield. Is it unique to Fairfield? Is it a national movement? What's going on?
Yeah, so it's actually a national movement. It started in Fayetteville, Arkansas in 2016. Right. That's what the Google tells me. Anyways, so yeah, it started in Arkansas. There's a website, littlefreepantry.org, where you can go and look up pantry locations all across the country. I don't actually know if it's international. I don't know why it couldn't be, but I don't know if it is.
Now,
so
yeah, go ahead.
No, that's
well. Before we started, we were talking about how you got involved. So, when was the first little free food pantry, and when did you get involved?
Yeah. So. Again, the Google tells me that here in Fairfield, there was a little free pantry created in 2016 by a couple of MIU folks. So I've never interacted with these people, but Barbara Hayes was an MIU student at the time with the help of makerspace organizer Dora Pollock. So I think it was one of the students' projects that they wanted to do. So the pantry, the first one here in Fairfield was in 2016. Now I think maybe it did go kind of dormant for several years. I don't know that anybody was taking care of it.
Okay.
But in 2020, there was a group of folks that kind of, I wouldn't say revive, because we built multiple at the time, and then also kind of put what we call a pantry steward on the MIU pantry. So in 2020, kind of the spring of 2020, sort of randomly, I posted on Facebook about a book that I read called Made, and I was just telling you before, kind of made some comments about the book and how I could maybe not relate to the situation of the character. It was a single mom that was trying to provide for her daughter, but I could empathize with her trying to provide for her daughter and going back to school, trying to do all the right things to kind of bring herself out of poverty. And so from that, somebody made a comment on my Facebook to say, hey, I see a lot of little free libraries around town, but I don't see very many little free pantries. Yeah. And that was something that existed in the community that she came from. So. Okay. I took that as a challenge when she said, well, you should do this. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and say, yes, I need help. But maybe if you did this, it's anonymous. People could come get what they need when they need it. And so I put up a little free pantry. And through Cambridge, where I work full time, I'd sent out a message to let associates know that it existed, if anybody wanted to donate or if anybody needed it. And then that passed to a group of 3 or 4 people here in town that were also starting to put up pantries around town. So 2020 was kind of when it kicked off here in Fairfield.
All right, now I have to ask a kind of a personal question, and it was not on the list of questions. So brace yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So when you went home that weekend that you built the pantry in your front yard, mm-hmm. and you're having dinner with your family, and you go, hey, I have this idea. We're going to build a little free food pantry and put it in our front yard. Mm-hmm. What was the general reaction? And I'm asking it not to pry into your family dynamics, but to prepare people for what the conversation might be.
Yeah, well, so first thing, I was not going to build it myself. My dad is handy, so I sent it. Yep. So I looked up plans, sent him some plans, and said, here's some ideas. That's one nice thing.
Did your homework?
Did my homework. Right. I'd say that's one nice thing about the Little Free Pantries. So on that website, littlefreepantry.org, there are building plans that you can use those. I know you would ask me about, hey, a lot of them look similar here in town. Yeah. That's partially because it was the same group of people that were building multiple kind of in those 2020, 2021 years where we had quite a few going up at once.
Right.
You can go on Pinterest. There's all different plans out there. Yeah. So back to my family. Yeah, my husband didn't have to build it. I wasn't going to build it. My dad was going to build it.
Good.
I did do the painting. I'm pretty sure we probably had somebody come out and mark and make sure we weren't going to dig a hole, over the gas line or something like that. So my husband did have to do that part. But yeah, I don't think, we have little kids, so it's actually been a fun thing with the kids. They kind of know sometimes if it's like, they got a bunch of candy, let's say. And I'm like, oh, I think we'll put some of that out in the pantry. So they know some things they're going to go out in the yard.
That's funny.
They, when we get our own groceries, a lot of times I'll say, oh, I'm just going to stop at the pantry. There's no sense in taking it inside if we're going to just put it, some of this is for the pantry. So it's been fun from a family experiment.
Yeah.
Maybe to see.
Everybody's involved.
Yeah. They like to take the stuff out to the pantry. If we drive by, they'll say, Mom, it's empty. And I'm like, I know. Or Mom, the door's open. Sometimes the door doesn't get latched on it. So I don't think, there wasn't any, I can't remember any big ahas besides, Mom's going to do this, so get on board. This is what Mom wants to do. Get on the train. We're leaving.
There's your sign-up sheet right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, we talked about a couple of things. One is the first pantry went up in 2016, you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there were no others.
Not that I know of.
Until 2020.
Yep.
Give or take a month or two.
Yep. Also
in 2020, other food resources sprouted in Fairfield.
Mm-hmm.
The Come to Supper, Tuesday night Come to Supper, started right at the beginning of 2020, maybe late 2019.
Mm-hmm.
First United Methodist Church opened their once a month food bank, serving 15 people that first time. They serve 104 this past month. And then this first group of your pantry came up, and then others came from there.
Yep.
How long have you been in Fairfield?
I moved here in 2009.
Okay. So what is it? This is completely personal, subjective observation. What happened from 2016, 2018, when Fairfield was designated 7th best small town in America, to 2020, just before COVID, when so many groups, independent of each other, saw the need for food resources in our community?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Ask everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You kind of think of 2020 and COVID, and I think people, again, empathizing or expecting that maybe people have lost their jobs.
Right.
Maybe they've lost their jobs because they have to stay home to watch their children. And,
that's true.
There's not a remote, work from home option for their job or their career of where they're at.
Right.
Maybe people were bored in 2020. That's,
right.
Looking for ways to give back. I'm sure that's not why people need it, but people like myself of, hey, what else can I?
Sure. I can do this.
What else can I do? And actually, that was honestly part of it very selfishly. I like to donate to the Lord's Cupboard, and the hours that they would have, partially because of COVID, that, you had to come during certain hours to even be able to donate. That was keeping me from donating.
Yeah, sure.
When I wanted to, and I thought, man, wouldn't it just be great if selfishly I can just go outside whenever I want to make a donation, and in return people can also come. And I also flipped that. It was selfish for me, but then also thinking of people, again, reading this book, and this mom is working full-time.
Yeah.
A lot of these places to pick up the food meals are during the workday.
Right.
And so if that is somebody, you do have a full-time job, but you need help.
Yeah.
A lot of those resources are during the day. So also thinking, hey, you could drive by after work. You could drive by at night and pick up what you need from the pantries.
Well, maybe that's the reason why the demand, it seems like, for the resources through the little free food pantries is growing so quickly, because, when we first started talking, it's 4, 5, 6 months ago, I think there were 10 in Fairfield, one in Lockridge, at the post office in Lockridge, and one in Libertyville at the City Hall.
Yep.
Since then, in fact, I think since we started talking about doing this interview, 2 more little free food pantries have been built in Fairfield. There might be a couple more coming online.
Yep.
And looking on Facebook, it seems like there's a regular cycle of food in, food out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, yay, this one's filled up.
Yeah. Get there fast.
Next day,
So it's
hey,
gone.
this one's empty.
Yeah.
And you were talking about it as, it seems to be a regular cycle at the one in your yard.
Mm-hmm.
You put food in, it's gone. Put food in, it's gone. So what's driving this demand now that COVID is over and everybody's back to, normal and we're all happy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, it's anonymous, so
Sure.
you can, I was mentioning that, we kind of have it in a spot in our yard where we can't see it unless we're really, trying to go out and see what's happening. So we're not sitting there in the living room watching
Right.
who's coming and going.
Waving.
Yeah, who's coming and going.
Yeah.
I think, it's intended to be 24/7 access. You can give as little or as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when things get taken, I know I can get in this mental habit, and other people sometimes on Facebook or, will reach out to me, well, are the right people getting the food? I don't know. I'm going to say if somebody has to drive up in their car to get food, that they need it. It seems like one car pulled up and took everything. Like, yeah, again, if you're a family of 5 and there's, 2 cans of vegetables and a thing of spaghetti and spaghetti sauce, like that's not going to last you, more than a day. So, so sometimes I think that's why it can go fast, right? Because you could have a family coming up and there's usually the pantries usually aren't overly full.
No.
So it's a little bit of this and that. So, we hope that people take just what they need for that day. But I also imagine there could be a little bit of a fear factor of like, I've driven by here every day this week and this is the one day that there's food. So I'm going to take it because the next person might get everything that I want to get out of here. So I don't know. I think it could be a lot of different things.
I think, a lot of it is dry goods or canned goods, so it's going to last a while.
Yeah.
Second thing is, if people are in such a situation where they need to depend on the Little Free Food Pantry or any of the other resources in town, I don't think they're in a position where they're going to say, okay, today's Monday, I'm going to take enough to last me till Friday because my life is going to change on a dime on Friday, and I'm going to have a full refrigerator and the kids are going to be happy on the weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Second thing is, I know in talking to Carol and Jamie at the Tuesday Night Come to Supper, there are people who roll up and are picking up meals for multiple
neighbors.
families.
Yeah.
When I was postering the food pantry in your front yard, guy rolls up, nice car, which everybody gets all
Worked up about the
sorts
car.
of assumptions going on.
Yep.
And he said, I'm picking up for 5 families. So I'm wondering if that's not a lot of it. If people are not mobile and don't have transportation, a good neighbor will go out there and pick up for 2 or 3 or 5 families.
Yep. Or helping elderly, elderly neighbors who might not get out. Yeah. So I think people can get in a judgment, like you said with the car, get in a judgment cycle of, well, that person has a nice car. I can't believe they're, Are they taking stuff or dropping stuff off?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point. I try to, talking with people in the community from different experiences in their financial success or not, has taught me a lot of patience. And I've had to remind people that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what's led them to this moment. You don't know where they were a year ago or a month ago or 5 years ago. And, with First United Methodist Church, we deliver into people's homes. Take a bin of food into it. We unload it in their kitchen because we have to get the bin back. And that's just an eye-opener for why people are in need. And this lack of mobility is a big reason. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you this question, but I think I already know the answer.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of how many households are served each month?
I don't. And I don't think we have a good way to track unless
Yeah.
you're asking people to
Yeah, that would
mark, make a check mark if you take some food. So yeah, we really don't have any statistics on how many people.
But the consensus is more are being served.
Yeah, I think so.
But
we don't know for sure. Yeah.
What goes in a little free food pantry? What should people be buying?
Yeah. So you mentioned it, right? A lot of non-perishables.
Yeah.
I think you can be mindful of the weather though too. In the winter,
Yep.
I actually put frozen food out there, put refrigerated food out there because
sure.
it'll go fast. And again, having it on my property at my home, I can also monitor like, oh, I did put something out there yesterday or this morning and it hasn't been picked up. Maybe I should bring it inside, right? And put it back out again the next day. Hygiene items also go over. Sometimes people ask, about pet food. Yeah, pet food.
Really?
Yeah. That's not usually in there, but sometimes we'll see a dog treat or something in there like that. I also don't see a lot of, because we are really focused on more of, food insecurity, but cleaning supply, toilet paper, paper towels, hand soap, things like that will be in there. But I know I personally try to look for maybe things that have a little bit of protein to them. So if it's, canned tuna, I often see a lot of peanut butter, oatmeal, easy things, right? Macaroni and cheese, the little rice packets, pasta packets. Just trying to think of something that would be easy for a family to fix if you didn't have all these other things to add to it. So you can definitely tell when people, and I'm probably just as guilty of this, when people clean their own pantry and it's like, oh, there's a random bottle of a special spice. And it's like, I wonder how somebody would if I couldn't find a way to use this, I wonder how somebody else will use this. But everything gets taken, even if, we don't want to encourage people to put expired food in there.
No.
But it happens. I usually will leave it for a day or two, see if it gets taken. Because even you could think of expired cereal, well, maybe a kid's going to make a craft with that, right? Like, I think people could be creative. Maybe people don't think that way, but that's, what are other ways that you could use this food besides actually eating it? Of course, we always want to encourage healthy options, but it's also fun to put out, the candy that I've taken from my children that they will not eat, that we'll put out there. Everybody needs a little sweet stuff every now and then, or a Pop-Tart, or, the bad cereal. that can just be a fun thing. Yes, fun thing for a family to get that maybe they don't normally get to buy because they are trying to use their money to get the most bang for their buck, and so maybe it's nice to have one of those things sometimes.
Well, one of the other day, last Tuesday, I was loading a car with the First Church of the Nazarene's monthly food bank, and there are these two young children in the front seat. They're looking in the back because they're curious, right? And they're looking very serious, and they're looking and they're looking, and I go, "Hey guys, there's 2 bags of cookies in here." And their eyes just popped open. Yeah. And as I'm closing the door, I'm hearing, "Cookies! There's cookies, Mom!"
Yeah. So it's nice to put in in those things.
Little treat.
Yeah. But yeah, crackers, anything that can be non-perishable and stay out there. But a lot of times it goes fast. So.
Well, that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Now, can they leave, can they donate to any little free food pantry? Do they have to get into a queue?
Nope. Just stop by.
Rock and roll.
Yep. Drop it off. Take what you need. Any of them.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you are active on Facebook as an administrator.
Yes.
For the Little Free Food Pantries page. How valuable is Facebook for coordinating this community of volunteers and those in need? Yeah.
So Facebook is our primary way of communicating. I know my name gets associated with it, but there's actually, more people behind the scenes. So I better give them a shout out real quick. So
please do.
When I talked about some of those earlier folks that were helping build, Debbie Pogel, Mark and Chris Soth, Bob Ferguson, Becky Schreck, she also has a
Right.
pantry. I'm missing Sandy Stimson, so she's done a lot of the beautiful artwork on the pantries. Melanie Carlson has helped build a pantry or two. The ones in Libertyville and Lockridge were actually built by Girl Scout, Boy Scout troops, 4-H,
my
4-H groups. So I think it's, so again, back to Facebook, my name tends to come up the most. I might be the quickest one to approve posts sometimes, but that is our primary way of communicating. We have had articles in Iowa Source over the years,
Great.
and the local paper over the years. So we definitely take advantage of that free publicity when it comes up. But
Absolutely.
we're not super active in that PR aspect. We do try to treat it a little bit of just the grassroots. We want the word to get out there. Churches will get involved in that. I actually think that some of them that are in the works. I think there's a couple, one or two churches that might be looking to put them on their properties. But so yeah, that's our kind of word of mouth and Facebook, YouTube. We have a YouTube video of the pantries.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Excellent. Now, you talked about the stewards. Right?
Yes. Yep.
And they do a great job because I'm seeing their posts and they're very informative. They're very supportive. Besides that, what are their responsibilities and what kind of time commitment are we talking about?
Yeah, so really with the steward, again, a lot of the pantries, it's probably a little bit of a mix. Most of them are on a homeowner's property. So kind of innately then we expect the homeowner is the steward, but we do have some that are, like there's the one at SIEDA, the one at MIU, there's one on Gear Avenue. There's a couple that are, more if we have a community member that's acting as the steward. So really the role of the steward is to make sure the pantry's clean. We don't expect them to go out there every day, swing by a few times a week. If it's winter, make sure it's accessible, make sure, snow's cleared. Make sure the doors are, usually it's the doors that cause us the biggest concern or biggest issue. Maybe they don't get latched, they get caught in the wind, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's really it, just kind of helping make sure that it's clean, accessible, nothing's broken, that there isn't, something broken inside of it.
Yeah.
But they're not responsible for, making sure it's filled with food. That's, not something that we're asking. We're just need an extra set of eyes to make sure that it's, clean and accessible. So.
Well, on Facebook today, I saw, yesterday, I believe, 2 posts were put up about doors needing fixed.
Yep.
I shared it. A bunch of other people shared it. A bunch of comments. And today the doors were fixed.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So just another way, and that's kind of how some of the initial group members like Steve and Mark, they were the carpenters. So that's how they were contributing to the effort. Sandy was the painter.
Okay, sure.
Bob does do a lot of, PR and marketing when those opportunities come up. So we each just kind of had our own role, and I guess I got the Facebook role out of the group. So
everybody's like turning away.
Yeah, yes, yep.
All right, so here comes a tough question.
Okay.
If you could change, magic moment, you've got all the power in the world to make any change in this situation that you want.
Yes.
Okay, as a mom, you can just close your eyes and just imagine that. But in this setting, if you could change one thing that contributes to why so many families seem to be needing this assistance right now in our community, what would it be?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned to you before, I was struggling with this one.
A lot of people are.
I don't know. Again, I've not been in the situation myself to know what causes it. I was giving you the example that I hit a deer this winter, so we were down to one car for 2 months, and that was a pain for us, but it was doable. We had the extra resources. We had another car. We had friends that could give us rides, but I said I could imagine that a situation like that could cause a family to spiral where you maybe can't make it to work, you can't fix your car, you can't get the kids to daycare. So, I don't have a magic answer
No.
of what it could be. I think, again, for those of us who can contribute and try to help make the situations better for people, kind of having that grace and trying to have that no judgment, and just trusting that if people are asking for help, it's because they need it, and they're not trying to take advantage of the system or take advantage of you.
I think that's such an important point that needs to be emphasized over and over, is that in a universe of a few thousand people, of course there's going to be one. I mean, it's just
Sure.
a percentage
Yeah.
basis. But the overwhelming number of people needing help, I don't want to say legitimately, because that is a little bit,
Yeah.
but who are seeking it for the right reasons, who are doing the right things to try to turn their situation around. For whatever reason, didn't work out, luck, fortune, lessons in life, who knows. They're at this point where they need it. The overwhelming majority of, regardless of what they appear like in their current situation. The second thing is, fortunately in Fairfield, and probably many other communities, there's a great community of people like yourself and the other stewards and the other organizations who see the need, recognize the need, and have it in their grace to devote what they can to serve the needs of those people. And it's been one of the most inspiring experiences consistently I've had in talking to everybody, is so much giving, so much heart, so little, if any, I'd say none, no judgment.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty comfortable being a really judgmental kind of guy. That's me. And so honestly, I watch different groups, different organizations, and there's never even a flicker. It's not like a process going, oh, I shouldn't feel like that. The thought never crosses.
Yeah.
And bringing food to people's homes, to their cars, to wherever, to a little free food pantry.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I can give you that. Okay. Now, you're a leader. Leaders are readers. That's what Jim Rome says. He's a leadership coach. You're a leader at work. You're a mom.
Yes.
You volunteer at the Lions Club where we met. You're an active administrator for the Little Free Food Pantries on Facebook. So if you had any free time, what would you read?
Yes. So I just finished reading for work a book called Change Inc. About it's actually about bringing agile practices to the workplace.
Okay.
So I finished. That was my workbook.
Yeah.
And then my fun book.
Fun book.
It was actually that was actually a fun book to read.
Okay.
Sometimes the workbooks are not always fun.
No.
But my fun book it's called The Candy House.
All right.
And it's fiction. It's set in 2010, but it's more like futuristic. So kind of the premise of it is people are willing to give up their memories in order to access other people's memories. So it goes into this thing called, I didn't write it down, called the collective conscious, I think.
Collective candy bar.
Maybe. I don't think it's called a collective candy bar, but collective conscious. So if you're willing to, it's kind of like social media, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's putting stuff out there without maybe realizing what some of those consequences could be later on. So
right. Is that in the library?
I do have the one from the library, yeah. So when I'm done, I'll take it back to the Fairfield Library.
Okay, great.
So yeah, so it's kind of, but if you wanted to get someone else's perspective, then you could put in your memories in order to access other people's memories. Yeah. So I think what the book will be is, I think it's different. I'm not very far into it. Different people's stories, and then it will be how they all intersect because they're feeding from the same collective memory. They just don't know it yet.
Being super private myself, that first step, sharing my memories with others, no, couldn't get it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. How can people find you online and support Little Free Food Pantries in real life?
Yeah. Yep. So again, we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube video, thanks to Werner, so they can check that out.
Thank you, Werner.
Yes. We do try to have all the pantries, although now I'm questioning if they're all on there, on littlefreepantry.org. So, we have a map on the Facebook page, but if we have them all registered, then you can also go to littlefreepantry.org and see where they're all situated around town.
Great.
From our Facebook, we do have a link. We do have an affiliation with Divine Star Charity. So if somebody wants to make a tax-deductible donation, they can do that. So you can send a check to Divine Star Charity, or we do have a donor box link on our Facebook page. So if somebody does make a monetary donation, that money can be used by those different stewards to go buy food for the pantries.
Great.
In the earlier days, again, maybe that money was actually used to build a pantry. But we try to be conscious as this original working group.
Yes.
We kind of made a conscious decision of we don't maybe necessarily want to continue to add pantries to the community ourselves, in that sense of can we keep them stocked. But if others in the community, and they are, right,
feel
we're
inspired.
seeing it. Yeah, we're not here to dictate who can build a pantry, what it has to look like. We're here to support you. So if anybody does put up a pantry, we'd love to hear about it because we do want to add it to our Facebook, so that it can get that recognition and people know that it exists. So whether they want to donate or they want to give, we want to support that.
Great.
Not here to dictate it. So.
We have to go.
Yes.
I'm enjoying this conversation. We have to go. I want to do a quick wrap up, announce our next guest. First off, I want to give Dee Bosold a little shout because he does so much work bringing meals to the Little Free Food Pantry at SIEDA headquarters on West Jefferson.
Yes.
Correct?
Dee doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to reach out to Dee to see if we should add the fridge to the list of the pantries. It's not technically a pantry, but it is, I think he's using Facebook to promote the fridge and when there's food available, so we'll formally add it to our list of locations.
Great.
Because we do have the pantry outside, but the fridge is inside.
Okay.
So to let people know that there's both at that location.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That would be great. Dee, you're doing great work. Also got to give a shout out before we announce our next guest to Werner Elmker, the man behind the cameras here, who does a fantastic job of organizing these, making the digital production so excellent, hosting them on YouTube, and every once in a while, editing out awkward moments. So shout out to Werner. And our next guest is Mark Thornton, who is from the Carry-On Bag program that provides food for children over the weekend. They're serving 180 children right now. So really looking forward to talking with Mark about that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.